Okay, real quick, I'm gonna give you guys a rundown of what I have up here. This will be video 2. Okay, so the drawing is actually starting to dial in. What we need to do is I'm gonna start from this point here, and then I'm gonna work my way out. Last video I was dancing all over the place, but I'm actually gonna be really focused on this. Um, I put this up here so that at least you'll have some feedback, because I tend to stop talking after a while. I have some music in the background. Hopefully YouTube don't fuck that up. But that said, eventually we'll give you a color breakdown and color layout. These will be the ideas I'm using for color scheme here. Somewhere in there I'll find these flesh tones out of these two charts, and we'll talk about what these charts are, what they represent, and who came up with that idea, or where I learned it at least. As much as I think is okay to reveal. That said, I have this picture up here, but eventually what I'm going to do is pull out the iPad, and I'll show you why that's important to have on deck. People say, man, this guy's got all these electronics. Well, first of all, if I'm not out in person, how can I possibly see the light in your eyes? Like, I don't know what color your skin is naturally, and so I want to replicate that. And Apple has it's not a bad system for doing that. So let me just find maybe here. All right, so turn this down now, and then lock the photo. Okay. Now, hopefully it stays up there. You can see that we're not too far off. I keep saying that, but I'm going to emphasize it again and again, that we're not far off, and that we will get this somewhere. I want to zoom in and show you this. Right here. These tones are kind of being shot out, but the difference in tone that you can see here in the little highlighted details compared to that photo up there, there's a night and day difference. You can look in the bridge of the nose. You can see here there's much more highlight available for me to interpret. So when I use this, I can get a much richer sense of the colors that I want to develop. It doesn't really translate well to what we have going on there because I have the light on. I'll turn it off for a second and see if it improves even one bit. Okay, let's see. Yeah, now you see it's not so washed out. You can see that the development from the iPad is a lot better than that. It makes this almost look like it's a cartoon now. So that tells you we still have a lot to go. Painting is building from back to front, and it's building from thin to thick. So we want to have a thin drawing. We want to make sure everything's perfect. Then we want to paste the paint onto there. So that's that. That's kind of the process I use. I take an iPad. I use everything at my disposal. There's no cheating unless you're blatantly, I don't know, what is cheating in art? Well, you could make things that you claim are art and they're not. You could look at some of these paintings, and it's somebody swirling paint on a canvas, and there's no rhyme or reason behind it, and they're really just trying to mimic great people who came before them, who it seems like that's what they were doing, was just smearing paint around on canvases, but quite the opposite. Some of those were the most well thought out things ever produced. Jackson Pollock, one of them. Some of his work. Some of it's very, very well thought out, and it was new and exciting at the time. But go on YouTube and watch people do these little smear painting videos and all this garbage. It's not worth the data space. So that's my 2 cents. I'm going to give this paint a little spritzer here. This is the same we had the other day. I got these lights going, hoping it doesn't wash everything out. I think I'll probably cut these off in a minute because I only had them on for the interview. So this will give you guys a better idea, hopefully, and we'll get at it. I'm going to get a little music here in the background. I'll talk as much as I can to indicate what I want to do here and there, but I pretty much just shut up and paint when it gets time at it. And then when I start doing lesson videos, I will give you guys as much as I can as far as I know. I taught for a while, but I've had a couple injuries which I wasn't sure I would be able to recover from. So now that I'm here and I'm cool, we're going to get at it. So again, I'm still going to fake these colors. I'm just going to pretend what these colors are. I'm going to keep going off my fake palette. Because as I showed you with the iPad versus that, this is still a long way back. So we have time to fix it. Make sure they sit up. The reason I keep the paper out is it's easier to flip it around. And because I toss this thing a lot in the beginning, my hand, you always see me rubbing with my thumb in the beginning. I do quite a bit of that, so it's easier. Speaking of, Tops of these paints got hard because they're old, so I need to mix them back up. They're not like little rocks or anything, but they're gelatinous, and when it gets that way, maybe that did go bad. When all that paint went bad, so I gotta scrape that and go fresh. That's fine. That was out for a while, and we're not going for any real color, so this is just a couple primaries pulled out. It's not a big deal. Okay, so I had to do a palette adjustment here. The other paint got crumbly. The top started getting hard on it, and they get crumbly. So if you notice, I don't put out much at all. You see Bob Ross, he puts out these big old piles of paint. You don't need that much. You need tiny piles of paint. Then what I'll do is individually I'll take them and hit them with the palette knife, and that should break the color and mix them up. And then we'll go from there. It'll only take a second. Here we go. What that looks like. I'll show you. It's dirty. Gotta clean it. A little wipe. Now you'll notice when I mix, I kind of leave like a little pile, or not the pile, but I leave something pulled out because I tend to work from those edges. I very rarely go in and grab from the middle of the pile. And with the white, I'll separate that into two, maybe three even. Maybe I'll put one over here. That way when I'm over playing with these, I'd be there, you know. And then I'm going to put this over here. I had it over here for my shadow, but just because it's crowded out in that corner over there, I can get back over here easier. So that's where that'll go. There's paint on the back of here. Sometimes you'll see me sit and paint with that. I won't even be up here and you'll be like, how's he getting paint? It's off the back of this after I used it. Or if I have some dirty paint somewhere, sometimes I have paint up here and it stays wet for a minute. And if I went in, if I came right off of this, let's say I came off of this pile, right, and I just grabbed a bunch of it, and I go in here to make a change, it's gonna be a ton of it. You know, look at, if I go in here and I just grab that white, look how dramatic of a change that was. We could never need that much, not yet. Let me wipe that out. Kind of looks like fur, don't it? You guys starting to get the idea how to make fur yet? Anybody? Any bright students? We'll get there. Hang on for the ride. Alright, so I'm going to get back at it. I think I see a bunch of little things over here that I think if we correct them now, we'll have a real good edge on building up color. Trying to do is determine where the eyelash lands. Can't quite see it. Right here. That's not right. That white's bigger. Almost. Could be have pieces of tape nearby. Make sure I'm not in the way. So for the blacks, what I do is I take this blue, and then I either use a transparent red iron oxide or the cat red. And then, comparatively speaking, it looks like black. You never use black in a painting, and I'll tell you why. One day I was doing a painting when I was first learning, and my teacher said, don't use black ever. He says it'll be noticed right away. Later that night, I was working on a Frederick Church or something like that. I think it was a Frederick Church. And it was a scene where there was a lot of darks, a lot of contrasting darks, and I didn't want to make. I'd been painting all night, and sometimes I go in 10, 15-hour stretches. And anyway, I didn't want to make black paint, so I reached in and I grabbed some black and put it on there. And the next day, he's like, "That looks like complete shit." And I'm like, "What? How did he catch me? How did he possibly know? How does this master of painting know that I put black out of a tube compared to this?" Well, I'll show you guys later if you don't know. Don't tell the answer. But that's what happened. Don't use black out of the tube. It's okay for layout, but after that, don't mess with it. It's a real dark shadow there. Yeah, mine's off still. Yeah. You see what's happening here. It's a little big, but probably the whole thing, even though I moved it, it's probably the whole thing isn't accurate. Let's see here. It's above the lip, right? Oh yeah, it is above the lip. It comes down way low. Leaves almost no. That's what fattens it up, is right here. It rotates out like this. And you can see here, bottom of the eye on that angle. Look at that. Huh. I told you, check your angles. You heard Carlito.
Maybe line. When you can't see the angles no more, you in trouble, baby. You in trouble.
I put that there drastically because I'm kind of using it as a position marker to show me where everything else is, so don't get pissy about it yet. And also, it's wrong anyway. It's gotta come down to there. So it's gonna come up right there, and that's it. And the rest of that's gotta go. Right there, and then little hops, opens up. Yeah, something like that. Starting to get there. Not quite. It's probably really close to. Let's see. I don't know. I'll come back to it later. I'll flip it around a few times, quit messing with it. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I might mess it up, or I don't know. Who knows? I'm looking at it too hard. It's a negative shape that doesn't have to be there. I was just going to use it as a marker. Now I'm making a mess of my workstation. Okay. Starting to get somewhere, eh? I don't know. Let's see what that did. Too big. Never mind. away from this one. See what I did there? Started leaving it. I need to get back into it. I needed it to dry for a second, so it was getting smeary. Okay, I understand what it's doing now. Maybe. Ah, fuck. I gotta let it dry. Starting to dance around, you'll say, "Oh my God, he had it earlier. Why'd you touch it?" But it wasn't quite there. It just looked like it from afar. But these will start adding up in a minute here. And something else to remember in painting too, you know, if it came off the canvas, it can go right back on. So. Ah, that's wrong. That is wrong. Push some of that with the brush, maybe. A little bit. Hi, puppy. I don't have any gummy bears. What you want?